relation to one of the previous speakers, I think it was 2 weeks ago, mentioned a cultural shifts, and someone here mentioned this morning, I forget who it was, about suicide prevention campaigns, and have they been affected in other jurisdictions? Has there been less of an emphasis on them in other jurisdictions, or
in relation to suicide prevention? I think there's still suicide prevention is still a priority for all kinds of reasons, but if you have this in place, then it can provide problems for the implementation of suicide prevention among certain categories of people. So in Canada, somebody comes in having attempted suicide to A&E, has a terminal illness. There have been cases where that person who hasn't previously requested it has been suggested to them that they have medical assistance in dying. And then other doctors who take a different view of what suicide prevention should mean in this context find it difficult to be consistent in relation to suicide prevention in that context. So it has there's been a controversy in Canada about how to operationalise suicide prevention among people who are eligible for assisted dying.
Just in relation to the unassisted suicide rates in the United States, where does your evidence where assisted dying has been introduced in them states where suicide rates have gone up? Because this is a serious allegation to make, so you better be able to back this up.
So this is Girma and Paton's paper in the Economic European Review. So I can provide.
You don't have it with you.
Hmm?
You don't have it with you, no? You don't. Can you give me the evidence now? Because if you're going to make a statement like that, you'd be able to back her up.
So I did work with so David Paton's an economist from Nottingham, and we looked at the stats back in 2015, right. And there was a suggestion on several tests that there was an increase, but it wasn't statistically significant on our final test. But then Girma and Paton have gone back to the data now that there have been more states which have done this, and they've used two different methods, and they have found statistically significant rates of 6% increase in relation to suicide in general and 14% increase in relation to suicide of women. Association is not the same as causality, but there is an association which is shown by a peer-reviewed paper.
No, but that's, I mean, that piece of evidence, I could show you another piece of evidence that is untrue, you know? So I just think that really falls flat in its face. If you're saying that where countries, you know, put a framework of assisted dying, suicide rates go up, I think that's really very flimsy evidence, to say the least. Very flimsy, and I just don't buy it.
Just before we move on, I would have to say, in the interest of fairness to expert witnesses that come before us, any individual's interpretation of statistics and of facts, every one of us is perfectly entitled to our own personal opinion and is perfectly entitled to express that opinion and show forward that opinion, and as is any person 100% entitled to take objection to it and to factually be argumentative against it. But it's nothing personal by any person inside this. No. And we're not questioning any expert witness that is before us on their bona fide or any such thing. We're accepting and debating the different viewpoints, and that's all we're doing here today, in the interest of coming to a better conclusion at the end of all our deliberations.